I spent over a decade glued to YouTube, watching every fitness influencer out there, trying every workout program, and buying every supplement they recommended. I thought I knew everything about building muscle. I was tracking my macros, timing my nutrients, deloading, progressive overloading, you name it, I was doing it. But my results, they were average, at best. I was putting in so much effort, so much time, and so much money, but I still looked like I barely lifted. I was frustrated, on the verge of giving up, and convinced that I just had bad genetics. Then, one day, I met a guy at my gym who completely changed my perspective. His name was Arthur. Arthur was 60 years old, but he was in phenomenal shape. He had a classic old-school physique that looked powerful and timeless. He wasn't the biggest guy in the gym, but he had a density and a ruggedness to his muscle that you just don't see anymore. He moved with purpose and never seemed to waste a single rep. I was intrigued. I watched him for a few weeks, and his workouts were nothing like the flashy, complicated routines I saw online. They were simple, almost boring. Finally, I got up the courage to talk to him. I asked him what his secret was. I expected him to mention some obscure supplement or a complex training protocol I'd never heard of. But his answer was so simple, it almost made me laugh. He said, "Son, you're thinking too much." He then shared with me 3 principles that he had followed for over 40 years. These 3 principles are what I want to share with you today, because they've given me more real-world results in the last year than 10 years of watching YouTube fitness gurus. The first thing Arthur taught me was the power of brutal basics. He told me to forget about all the fancy isolation exercises, the Basu ball squats, and the complicated cable fly variations. He said, "Your body doesn't grow from trickery. It grows from heavy, hard work." His entire routine was built around a handful of compound exercises: squats, deadlifts, bench presses, overhead presses, barbell rows, and pull-ups. That's it. For him, these weren't just exercises. They were fundamental human movements. He believed that if you could get brutally strong on these 6 lifts, muscle growth was an inevitable byproduct. So, I stripped my routine down. It felt strange at first. I was used to doing 5 different exercises for chest, and now I was just doing bench press and maybe some dips. My workouts were shorter, but they were infinitely more intense. Arthur emphasized that the key wasn't the variety of exercises, but the quality of the execution. Every single rep had to be perfect, controlled on the way down, explosive on the way up. No bouncing, no cheating, no half reps. He'd say, make every rep a masterpiece. This focus on quality over quantity forced me to lower the weight initially, which bruised my ego, but my muscles had never felt so engaged. My mind-muscle connection improved dramatically because I was truly focused on moving the weight with the target muscle, not just getting it from point A to point B. The second principle was what he called patient progression. This was a huge one for me. In the online fitness world, we're obsessed with constant, linear progress. Add 5 pounds to the bar every week, no matter what. But Arthur just shook his head at that. He said, the body doesn't work on a spreadsheet schedule. It adapts when it's ready. His approach was simple. Focus on adding 1 more rep. If last week you benched 225 for 5 reps, this week your only goal is to get 6 clean reps. Not 7, not 8, just 1 more. Once you could hit your target rep range, say 8 reps, with perfect form, only then would you earn the right to add a small amount of weight, maybe just 2.5 pounds. Then, you'd start the process all over again, working your way back up to 8 reps with the new, heavier weight. This method took the pressure off. It made progress feel manageable and consistent. Some weeks I wouldn't add a rep, and that was okay. Arthur would say, the body is building. Be patient. This slow, steady approach built a foundation of true strength. It prevented injuries and, more importantly, it was sustainable for the long haul. I was no longer burning out or getting discouraged by unrealistic expectations. I was just showing up, doing the work, and letting the progress come naturally. The third and final principle was perhaps the most important. Eat like an adult. When I told Arthur about my complex meal timing, my carb cycling, and my expensive protein powders, he just smiled. He didn't eat 6 small meals a day. He ate 3 big, satisfying meals. His philosophy was incredibly straightforward. He said, eat real, whole foods, meat, fish, eggs, potatoes, rice, vegetables, fruits. If it ran, swam, flew, or grew from the ground, eat it. If it came in a shiny package with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce, avoid it. He wasn't obsessed with hitting exact macro numbers. He just focused on getting enough protein with every meal and eating plenty of nutrient-dense foods. He told me, your body knows what it needs. Listen to it. Eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're full. You're trying to build a strong house. You need quality bricks, not just a pile of sand. I stopped stressing about my eating window and my post-workout shake. I started cooking more, focusing on high-quality ingredients. My energy levels soared. My digestion improved, and my body started to look healthier. It looked solid, not puffy or bloated like it sometimes did when I was forcing down shakes and processed fitness foods. I realized that proper nutrition isn't a math problem. It's about providing your body with the high-quality fuel it needs to recover and grow. So, to recap, brutal basics, patient progression, and eat like an adult. It's not sexy, it won't get you millions of views with a clickbait title, but it works. It's a timeless, no-nonsense approach to building a strong, muscular, and healthy body that can last a lifetime. I threw out my complex spreadsheets and stopped following a dozen different influencers. I started listening to the wisdom of a 60-year-old man who had been in the trenches, quietly building strength for decades. My progress in the last year has been astounding. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I've built more visible muscle, and most importantly, I actually enjoy my training again. I'm not a slave to the gym or to my diet. I'm building a body, not just chasing numbers. So, if you're feeling stuck, if you're overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there, maybe it's time to take a step back. Simplify your approach. Focus on the fundamentals. Be patient with your progress, and fuel your body with real food. You might find that the old ways are still the best ways. Thanks so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more no-nonsense fitness advice. Let me know in the comments what's the single best piece of advice you've ever received. See you in the next one.